Hello and welcome back to your East vs. Trails in the Sky Alternative Saga character Overlook guide. Today we'll be talking about Elk. This is going to be one of our first characters that you have to unlock with BP. Elk is going to cost 500 BP to get. He's an easy character with he's like a mid-range character that plays with hit and run playstyle. And he's very fast, has cheap skills, great frustration potential, and a high AP limit for people that use accessories. This might be your character if you're interested in those things. So we'll go ahead and get right on into the free mode. So we can go ahead and go into training and go over their movesets. So with, as usual, combos might not end up being true due to the fact that the game's going to change to 60 FPS on the re-release, and the fact that I'm not exactly the best, so just bear with me, but I will do my best to showcase Elk. So let's go ahead and start with his ground normal, which is going to be a 5-hit combo. Of course, however, like most ground normals, it is not going to combo fully. Also, it's probably one of the worst ground normals in the game because it has almost 0 hit stun. So, let me go ahead and try to showcase what I mean. In the middle of my hits, they can just escape it. Because Elk's strength is so low, because he's supposed to be like a fast character but with low strength to compensate. Because his strength is so low, his moves do not cause enough stun for his attacks to actually connect much. His skills will connect a fair bit, but his normals have trouble. However, we'll go ahead and go to his charge attack, which is actually pretty decent. It has a decently long range. It's kind of weak, but it does give a good 29 SP. It is kind of risky because it has a lack of hit stun, which unfortunately also works on this move. It does give a ton of SP though, and it does have some soft armor. And like all other charge attacks, it's really good in a dash because it just comes out faster. And it's safer on shield. Next up is going to be his air normal link, which is going to be the fastest air string in the game. And it's actually one of his only combo starters. But it can be hard to use as an air to air though. But it is a 4-hit move. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not always gonna have every single move hit, especially if you're doing a homing dash. But you're likely gonna get most of the hits, and it's very fast, and you can cancel a lot of them into your skills. It is a very good combo tool. Now we're gonna go ahead and talk about the falling attack, which is basically a stall and fall with almost no hit stun, which makes it abysmal. It's not a good move. But I mean, it's like okay, like it sends pretty fast. It's pretty underwhelming because even though it's plus on block, because it sometimes doesn't have hit stun, but it sometimes does. Yeah, let's go ahead and start getting into these skills. His best move out of his entire kit actually is going to be Rock Fang. It is 8 SP, sends the opponent in the air, guaranteed has hit stun. It is one of his best combo tools. Does a fair bit of damage too, and has a chance to petrify. It's a fast, long-range launcher, which he can cancel with almost everything pretty early. And it makes it for an outstanding poke because it has very quick startup and has an early block cancel window. And it has a small chance of parking petrify, which makes it pretty strong. Wheel spin is going to be a weak combo extender. It basically kind of just hits twice, moves him forward a bit, sends the opponent forward. It can lead into some other stuff. It's not the great move, but it works. It hits a lot farther below than it looks. It has good range, it just doesn't do too much damage. Let's go ahead and go into his other skills. Yes, for sure, Rock Fang is going to be his best skill. Put on Rising Wheel, Aerial Charge, Rumble Brawl, and Terran Vortex. And get right back into it. Alright, let's go ahead and get our resources, and we're gonna go right on into Rising Wheel. This is his go-to anti-air. It's not exactly a combo tool, but it can somewhat combo into his aerial, but they can tech out of that. It's pretty hard to actually make a combo out of this, but it does work alright as a combo ender and an anti-air. Especially because of how high it reaches. And it's very thin, but it goes up very high and low. It does have a lot of high hits, which means he can fish for status effects too. And it also cannot be wall cancelled because it does put him airborne. Aerial charge. This is a pretty interesting attack. It will basically raise him into the air. And then on impact, basically as soon as he touches the ground is when he does damage. Well, also the rising does it a very small bit. It's a pretty interesting move. It works really well as like a surprise attack. It doesn't work too well in combos, but it can be used as a combo ender if you like get the opponent really high in the air. Next up is going to be a Rumble Brawl, which I can't apparently say. It's just it's a multi-hit that's going to start launching the opponent into the air. It's pretty good for what it's worth. It is a reversal, pretty decently strong for what it's worth. It does tend to drop a bit on airborne opponents, so it doesn't really make it too great as a combo ender, but if you are able to use it as a combo extender, it can be pretty good. Next is going to be Terran Vortex, which is a very wide move. It goes pretty far, allows him to get in really well. Allows him to do the hit part of his hidden run strategy pretty well. And I don't think it might put him into a hard knockdown. I'm pretty sure it does, which allows some combo potential. But it does cause a lot of SP in terms of his other stuff. Also, every hit has a very, very small chance to proc Petrify. I will say this move is affected by pushback manipulation, so if you're like facing the wrong way, or just like facing the wrong, either facing the wrong way or like attacking the wrong way, it might be pretty easy to accidentally get the opponent to not get hit fully. But it is decently strong for what it's worth. And then we're going to go ahead and go to the extra skill, Geocluster, which makes him a walking hitbox for a long time, which is really good for starting combos or getting SP because you can use your charge attack in it like 3 times to get like 90 SP. You can do something like this. You could do nothing but charge attacks in here and get a lot off of it. Of course, sometimes you might have to like jump in the middle of it so they actually land, because you can see like 1 or 2 of those in there didn't actually land. But yeah, it does have minor combo potential. But I'd say it's best in the air. Like after you proc it, you just go in the air and start doing aerial combos. It lasts for a good 5 seconds. It allows him to be very aggressive. It does have one of the shortest animations among extra skills, which means if he uses it and then someone else uses an EX skill, he's probably going to lose the trade and take damage. Yeah, this. I'll just go ahead and say that if you are not using Rock Fang, which is shown in the first 2 skills, you're probably throwing. But his other moves are pretty alright. Let's go ahead and talk about recommended supports. I'm going to go ahead and recommend Josette. Because it's very useful for him because he has very low defensive stats. This is going to actually compensate for that. He also could use Olha because he almost synergizes perfectly with her because it ignores her extra knockback because, well, he doesn't do knockback. Of course, you can do Mustafa to raise your strength stat, which I'm pretty sure might actually help get you to do knockback for once and have like any sort of stun. But also, if you get Petrify active, if you crit with Petrify, you do a ton of damage. So if you get that to happen, you can use Olha for that. Those are really the main ones, but there's also Uriel and Chris if you want to actually get combos to work. He's pretty good with SB economy, so he doesn't really need Reese or Kevin. But yeah, I think that those are probably his best bet. Capanella actually isn't too crazy on him. He doesn't have too many multi-hits. Yeah, I think those really cover his extra skills. And his extra skill and his supports. Let's go ahead and talk about his negatives. Which are a lot. I wouldn't say he's like... He's, in my opinion, is the worst character in the game, but I don't think he's, like, worst character in the game in terms of, like, oh, he's actually useless. I think he's just the worst, not like, oh, he's abysmal. If you're playing him, you're throwing. No, I don't think that. But his weaknesses are short range. His twin blades have pretty little reach. He has to be almost next to his opponent to get hits. He has poor stats. He has low HP, low defense, and the lowest strength stat in the game. So he has to rely fully on his speed, pretty much. His hit stun is so inconsistent, because his strength is so low that it sometimes causes no hit stun at all. Makes his ground game the worst in the game, forcing him to stay in the air. His damage isn't that good, again, because of his strength stat. He's very assist dependent. He's one of the weakest characters in the game without an assist. He only becomes a threat once his assist is active, usually Olha. And he's, and if you're using accessories, he's really easy to counter build. You just put an anti-petrify item on him, and he's suddenly, his gimmick's suddenly dead. But, regardless of his negatives, if you are interested in playing Elk because you are enticed by, like, a speedy character that can get in and be annoying, pretty much, and basically make the person not want to play the game, this might be your character. But if you watch the whole thing and you're like, it's not for me, that's alright. You watch it through the whole video, helps push it in the algorithm, and so it does liking, commenting, and subscribing. So thank you for watching to the end, and if you want to stick around for more, we have more videos coming on the way soon for more characters. Until then, see ya.